Live broadcast of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, Biden said the threat of Russian invasion of Ukraine was very high. Russia's defense ministry said its forces were pulling back after exercises in southern and western military districts near Ukraine. But Western countries warn there is a growing Russian military presence at Ukraine's border. More armored vehicles, helicopters, and a field hospital have been spotted, Britain's defense intelligence chief said in rare public comment. Up to 7,000 more troops have moved to the border in recent days, including some arriving on Wednesday, a senior official in US President Joe Biden's administration said, without providing evidence. Russia announced that it could respond militarily if Washington does not meet its security demands and said it wanted all US troops out of Eastern and Central Europe. In the absence of will on the American side to negotiate firm and legally binding guarantees on our security from the United States and its allies, Russia will be forced to respond, including with military technical measures, the foreign ministry said. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Thursday Ukraine had no need for foreign allied forces to face down a feared Russian invasion, warning that their presence might only exacerbate tension. We have no need for soldiers with foreign flags on our territory. We are not asking for that. Otherwise, the entire world would be destabilized, the Ukrainian president told the RBK Ukraine website. Russia has expelled the US Deputy Chief of Mission to Russia, Bart Gorman, a State Department spokesperson said on Thursday, warning of a U.S. response amid heightened fears of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. U.S. President Joe Biden on Thursday said the threat of a Russian invasion of Ukraine was very high despite Moscow's claim of more troop pullbacks from the border. Biden said an attack was possible in the next several days, adding that he had no plans to call President Vladimir Putin as fears grew of a Russian invasion of its pro-Western neighbor. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin warned Thursday that Russia could be looking to create a pretext for invasion after troubling reports of shelling on Ukraine's front line with Moscow-backed separatists. We've said for some time that the Russians might do something like this in order to justify a military conflict, so we'll be watching this very closely, Austin told journalists after a meeting with NATO defense ministers. Ukraine and Russia-backed separatists in an eastern district of Lugansk traded allegations of an escalation in fighting Thursday, after US claims that Moscow is seeking a pretext to invade. Ukraine has been in conflict with rebels in the east of the country since 2014, in a war that has cost thousands of lives, but the latest reports will intensify fears of Russian intervention. Ukraine's military on Thursday accused Russian-backed forces in eastern Ukraine of firing shells at a village in the Luhansk region, hitting a kindergarten. The military said no injuries were caused. Russia announced a new drawdown of military forces from the Moscow-annexed Crimean Peninsula on Thursday, despite Ukraine's Western allies meeting similar announcements with skepticism. Units of the Southern Military District that ended tactical exercises at training grounds on the Crimean Peninsula are returning by rail to their permanent bases, the defense ministry said in a statement carried by Russian news agencies. Satellite images show Russia has moved some of its military equipment that was deployed near Ukraine, but other hardware has arrived and Moscow still has a lot of forces and equipment near its ex-Soviet neighbor, a private US company said on Thursday. Ukrainian government forces denied on Thursday accusations of having targeted separatist positions in the country's east, despite the fact that our positions were fired on with prohibited weapons, including 122mm artillery. Ukrainian troops did not open fire in response, a duty press officer of the Ukrainian Joint Forces operation told Reuters by telephone. All fell on signs that an Iranian nuclear deal may be imminent, which could pave the way for a resumption of official flows from the Persian Gulf producer. And as traders assessed the situation in Ukraine, West Texas Intermediate paired losses following a report from Russian news agency RIA Novosti that Moscow-backed separatists claimed that Ukrainian forces had violated ceasefire rules overnight. The US benchmark fell around 1% to near $92 a barrel after being down as much as 3.3% earlier. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on Wednesday said that the window for a Russian invasion of Ukraine remains open. During a briefing, Psaki said that the window for a potential Russian attack on Ukraine remains open and warned a fabricated pretext for an incursion could include reports like the one about mass graves in the Donbas region, reported CNN. We are in the window where we believe an attack could begin at any time, said Psaki. She said the US was not taking Russian claims of de-escalation at face value. There's what Russia says and what Russia does, Psaki said. Russian troops remain amassed in a threatening way on the border. The Biden administration rejected Russia's claims of a troop pullback from Ukraine's border and said Russia has added as many as 7,000 military personnel to the area. Senior administration officials, who briefed reporters in Washington on Wednesday on condition of anonymity, did not offer evidence to back up their assertion that Russia had added the new troops to its forces already around Ukraine or say what their assertion was based upon. Russian-backed rebels in eastern Ukraine accused Kyiv government forces on Thursday of shelling their territory with mortars, in violation of agreements aimed at ending the conflict, the RIA news agency said. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro pledged a powerful military cooperation with Russia following high-level discussions between officials Wednesday, a day after diplomats from the US and several other nations gathered to discuss steps toward a negotiated solution to the South American country's protracted crisis.